The first step to making your Katrina Longies is to cut out the pattern, and then I already did this part. You just set it on top of your fabric, making sure that you leave the 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then from this line down is where you measure how long you want your inseam to be. And this one I want it to be 10 inches, so I went ahead and cut my fabric 11.5 inches so I have plenty of room to do my hem. You cut one side like this, and then you got to flip your pattern over to cut the other side so that you have 2 mirror images. And that's important because it's going to go higher in the back to allow room for that cloth diaper. And then I also have my waistband. I decided to go with a red to make it kind of a snazzy contrast, but the waistband pattern asks you to just cut it along the fold so that when you unfold it you have something nice and long. Up next, sewing the legs shut. Okay, so this is my pattern's wrong side, so I'm going to fold it with the right sides together, right along that leg seam. So I'm looking at the wrong side, the right side is in here, fold it up, and if you're a pinning person, you're welcome to do that. And don't pin the whole thing shut, just the leg casings, and you're going to do that for both of them. And then you're also going to take your waistband, identify which side's the wrong side, which one's the right side, and put the right side together on the inside. So this is my wrong side, this is my inside, my right side are together, and I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew these pieces shut. Okay, so I've brought those folded pieces over to my serger. If you don't have a serger, you can just use a sewing machine. I just prefer this because it's faster and a little bit more secure, but I'm just going to zip them through. And then I cut the ends off. I'm not too worried about the white thread color because it's going to be on the inside anyway. So here is the finished waistband, and you just turn it inside out and you have a real nice seam. So that was one piece. Up next is the leg piece. I already had these folded together, remember, with the correct sides together into the inside. So I am looking at the wrong side right now. And off I go. Okay, so here we have our 2 leg pieces, and they are just serged just along the leg, not along the crotch. So how do we do the crotch? Well, just pick one of the leg pieces, doesn't matter which one, and you're going to turn it right side out. And then you're going to take that piece that you just turned right side out, and you are going to stick it inside the leg that is still wrong side out. And I'm going to look on the inside and I'm going to line up my seams right there, and I'm going to come to the top and line up my seams, and this is how I am going to pin it. I'm going to pin it like this, one inside the other. Okay, now I'm back at my sewing machine. I have gone ahead and put pins all the way along that whole crotch, up and down both sides. Remember, I've got my 2 pinned together, one leg inside the other. So here we go. I always like to hold on to the backs of my tails here. I'm going to go forward, backwards, and take out my pins as I go. And I'm using that 1/4 inch seam allowance that we left in there. Take out the next pin. Let's see if we can't get a better view here. There we go. Now when you get to the middle, you just kind of want to work the fabric so that you can go around that curve and don't hit any pins. Phew! Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, when you get to the end, notice my two ends don't match up exactly because I didn't cut them exactly the same size. That's alright, we'll trim it off. When I get to the end, I'm just going to hit that back stitch again. Now, the crotch is where a lot of the tension goes when the babies stand up and turn around and move over. So I like to go back through and hit the crotch a second time. So I'm starting about 2 inches from the V, and I'm just going to do it again, but this time I'm going to do it with a zigzag stitch right in that seam allowance, just reinforcing it. Go around the corner and come back up the other side. Alright, so here is that straight stitch all the way along, and then the zigzag stitch inside the seam allowance, just for a little extra reinforcement, about 2 to 3 inches on each side from the V. So let me trim off all of my little tails of strings here. The one on each side. And we're going to be ready to flip these bad boys out. So just pull the one leg out from inside. Now you've got the whole pair of pants. Oops, extra string. Inside out. And here they are, right side out. Now, you can see I'm not exactly perfect up here, so I'm just going to trim this off. But there's my almost finished pair of pants. Ready to tackle the waistband? Alright, let me trim these guys. I just kind of fold it in half and eyeball it. Make one side line up with the other. That's all that matters. Okay, and I am going to basically mark 4 spots on my pair of pants. The front seam, the back seam, and where my 2 sides are. Because now that I have my waistband, which I am going to fold in half like this. So I had it whole. Now I've already got my label on there. Ooh, little bundas. Just kind of pinch the middle and flip it in. And that's going to be my waistband. Waistband is shorter than the actual pants because we are going to stretch it as we sew. That's why it's really important to cut the waistband with the stretch this way so you have lots of stretch. And on my waistband I'm going to mark those same measurements. The middle and the 2 sides. And then I'm going to pin the waistband to the pants using those 4 measurements so I know exactly how much stretch I have so that I don't have a really lopsided pair of pants. So here we go. Okay, so I'm pinning. I have my pants right side out, and I am pinning the waistband to the pants. And to double check that you've done it correctly, you should be able to kind of flip it up where the pin is, and you'll see, okay, the seam is on the inside, not the outside of the pants. You're doing good. I've pinned the front, and I've pinned the back, and now I'm going to pin the sides, finding those marks that I made on the 4 sides so that I can make sure that when I stretch, my stretch is symmetrical. So I found my mark, pin through, do the same on the other side. Find that halfway point on the waistband, find that point on the pants, line them up, and pin them together. So I'm only using 4 pins. If you are a little afraid, go ahead and use more pins. It's not going to hurt anybody. So my pants are really bunched up in here, but that's okay. We're going to stretch them out.